I've run the longest distance I ever have. Like even before I had back pain, I'd never run as long as I am now. I've signed up for a 15K Tough Mudder, back into strength training, pain-free workouts as well. And yeah, booked a ton of travel, and I don't have to worry about my seat. I don't have to pay extra for the aisle seat because I know that, sitting for for a long time is not going to be a problem.
That's Aaliyah, a recent student inside of my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program, who was told she has an L4-L5 disc bulge. She had a list of a lot of symptoms and pain and fear that she had around movement and exercise. Doctors told her she shouldn't deadlift, she shouldn't squat, she shouldn't work out the way she was working out, and she's definitely not going to be running anymore. But after a few weeks of implementing the right strategy for her, she actually just finished her first 10K, has planned a 15K, and just recently booked a ton of travel that she thought she would never be able to do again. This is her story, and these are the exact steps that she went through to get where she's at today. Let's start with, obviously we have to kind of lay the groundwork of just people understanding what reality was like. So can you kind of take us back to before you and I started working together? What was your daily life like, obviously dealing with the pain that you were dealing with?
Yeah, sure. It was difficult. I love the gym, and it was quite hard, you know, going through my workouts and not being able to push myself the way that I wanted to, because there was that constant fear at the back of my head. Like the tiniest movement, even if it was just bending down to pick up a weight, would cause me some sort of pain in my low back, or down my leg. And I was so convinced that there was something physically wrong with me, and I was doing something wrong, and I was constantly checking my form, and I was so hyper fixated on everything that I was doing that I started to fall out of love with strength training. But it wasn't just in the gym, it was outside of the gym as well. I couldn't sit down on the sofa and enjoy a show, because I had to get up every 20 minutes or so to move around, because I thought I had a disc issue and I shouldn't be sitting for too long. Even just working, like I have a desk job, so I got a standing desk. But even that, my legs would hurt from standing for so long. And I just couldn't, like, even traveling was such a stress, long flights. I always had to get an aisle seat just so I could get up and keep moving. And I just, yeah, any social occasions, going out with friends for dinner, I'd go into the restaurant, scan the type of chairs, like see if they had a full back or not. Yeah, and I just couldn't, there were things that people normally wouldn't really think about when they're trying to, when they're going out or just trying to enjoy themselves. And I just felt like it became like an obsession for me, that one that I thought I'd never really be able to escape.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the before.
I want to pause really quick. A common question I hear people ask who have been dealing with chronic pain for years is, am I fixable? Do I have the ability to fix my back pain issue without doctors, without drugs, without surgery? I put together a very simple quiz that you can take for yourself to get this answer. And not only that, I'm actually going to give you the best plan of action based off of your results. Just go to fitnessforbackpain.com/quiz, take the quiz, get your results, and I will send you the best strategy for your unique situation. Again, fitnessforbackpain.com/quiz, take it, and I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah. You'd be surprised, just want to speak to the restaurant thing. You'd be surprised how many people have that same, like, if you put all the back pain people in the world in a restaurant, everybody would be searching for the best chair. Because I personally did it. I totally understand what you're talking about. And a lot of people deal with that same frustration. It's such a funny, but you only really know unless you know, right? It's kind of like you're in the actual cool guy club if you can kind of say that. So
yeah, it wasn't something I'm going to say out loud as well, because people are like, what do you mean, like, you need a different chair? Like, what?
Trust me, I totally understand what you're saying. What was did you ever get a diagnosis, MRI? What did the doctor say, or the people that you spoke with in the medical model, what were they kind of saying? Or did you ever get something like that?
Yeah, so I never got an MRI, but I was told that I had a disc bulge, an L4-L5 disc bulge. and that, I should avoid certain activity, like high intensity activities like running, heavy lifting. So yeah, I didn't actually have a scan, but that's what I told that I had.
Right. And all your symptoms make total sense. Sometimes you don't really need an MRI to, if you are having very specific symptoms, your pain, even though it's a little bit nuanced and specific to the person, most disc injuries can be flushed out even without an MRI, right? You can kind of understand what level it is based off of what your symptoms are. So it's good that you were able to not have to get an MRI, but you were still able to fix it and see massive change even without having that very expensive picture of your spine. What would you say was the most frustrating thing that you couldn't do because of your pain that like really stands out to you the most?
Um, Probably running.
Okay.
Before I even started going to the gym, I was a runner. That was what got me into fitness. Um, and yeah, I just loved it. I think it was especially hard because I'm in the UK and the weather isn't always great, but I think when the weather started to get nicer and I just wanted to go outside and run and think like, oh, I can't do that. It's not, it's something that I shouldn't be doing until this is fixed. But again, I didn't know when it was going to be fixed.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was pretty frustrating for me. But
Yeah.
also just day-to-day things like loading the dishwasher, hanging the clothes, bending down to grab something from the fridge because like we have a mini fridge. So yeah, just getting food was frustrating as well.
Yeah. And a lot of people, it's on the outward side of pain. A lot of people, it's easy to talk about what you just said, right? The dishwasher, putting clothes on, doing very nuanced things specific to your lifestyle and what you care about. How would you say it impacted you on the mental side? Like from a mental health perspective, where would you say that it impacted you the most, or how did that come out from a mental health perspective for you?
I became someone who would hold a lot in
Mm,
because it wasn't something I felt I could really talk about because I didn't know anyone else who was going through the same thing. I became very um, like I felt like I had a very short fuse. I'd get very irritated quickly.
mm,
Even being told to do simple tasks like I don't know if my sister would ask me like, why didn't you put your plate in the dishwasher? And I'd be like, I'll do it later because I'd need to really think about, how I was gonna put it into the dishwasher. Like I'd wanna, I was like again, it became an obsession. Like, okay, I need to brace my core. I need to make sure that it's not a sudden movement. I just
right.
want to have my own space when I'm doing this.
Mm,
Do it all in one go as well, which is why I'd let my stuff pile up so I could not have to constantly bend down throughout the day and just do it all in one go.
yeah.
Um, so
That's
yeah.
That's strategy there. That's chronic back pain strategy. I get it. You're speaking my language. I totally understand. What was for you specifically, what was the moment that you realized you're like, I can't live like this anymore. Like something has to change. Whatever I'm doing isn't working and something has to obviously I gotta make a decision that changes it. Was there like a pivotal point that was like, okay, this is it, I'm done. I've got to take a different step?
um, I think it was after um I went on a really long trip. So the furthest that I'd ever traveled was to Bali, and it was two flights. And I like that was probably the worst travel experience for me. I mean, I would carry a cricket ball or like some hard object that I could place behind me to just keep putting pressure. And I just thought, like, I'm too young to be living like this.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
and I don't like I felt like I'd exhausted every option physically. Like I'd educated myself on core work and having a strong core. And I was like, no, that can't be it because there's still something that's not working.
Mm,
So I think it was just the stress of the whole like just traveling that pushed me to take the final step. And I'd seen your videos on YouTube as well. Um, I knew that you offered one-to-one coaching, and I'd seen some testimonials as well. And I thought, okay, well, this is, I have nothing to lose at this point. Like,
Right, right.
yeah.
What did you have? What had you kind of sprinkled this in a little bit. I want to just make sure we kind of look at the big picture. What were the things that you had tried for yourself to get relief that weren't working for you? What were some of the things that you had tried? You said core work, things like that.
So many things. So core work, hot and cold therapy, just I had like a Theragun that I would I'd use to massage my muscles in a specific direction that I found on the internet that would like alleviate pain. I tried like deep breathing exercises, going for walks, certain like low back strengthening exercises like extensions. Yeah, so many things. A lot of them though were physical. I didn't really understand the mental impact
Mm,
that that I had on pain.
yeah. Kind of going into, we'll kind of fast forward a little bit and, you're in this situation, you're at this breaking point, and then, you've been watching some of my stuff for a while, then you decide to take the leap and invest in yourself, both time, energy, resources to kind of find a solution. What would you say has been the biggest difference in what you've done in this process through the Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program? What stands out to you the most? It's like, man, this is different. This is truly a different way of looking at it that has stood out to you the most.
Definitely in the early stages, like learning that it's psychosomatic. I didn't even know what that word was when I
Mm,
started. Um, and I felt like at first I was a bit skeptical. I was like, what what do you mean this has to do with my brain? Um, and I think that taught me a lot of patience as well, which like before this I was always looking for the quick fix.
mm,
And this really taught me that I have to slow down and just trust the process and also just trust myself. So that was the biggest difference for me. And it was challenging as well. But I'm really glad that I saw it through.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think it was something that you said, and it was also in the material that you recommended, that knowledge is power.
Mm,
And I again, a bit skeptical at first, but the more I started to learn about psychosomatic pain and then seeing the results happen alongside, I was like, okay, I get it now. I believe in it.
yeah. And just for clarity, I think because I'm so far, being someone who lived in chronic back pain, very similar symptoms that you had, and being in pain for almost a decade for myself, like when I first was started to unpack that there was more than just mechanical approaches to pain, right? Mechanical as in core strength, hip flexor strengthening, oh, your rounded shoulders, oh, your text neck, or your anterior pelvic tilt. Like that's what the internet and the mechanical side of pain looks at. And that's what a lot of people go to because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Like this guy told me that my I have anterior pelvic tilt. So if I just stretch or do this, that will fix it. Therefore, my pain will go away. But if you are a true veteran of chronic pain and you've been living with it for years and you've really tried everything, it feels like all the stretches, all the core stuff, you're then you're introduced to this what you called a psychosomatic approach. And the first thing that my brain was like, you're telling me that this is all in my head now. And I don't like that. And it becomes very defensive. You're like, no, like
Mhm.
my pain is very real. I could tell, I could point to it right now. And I think that's the biggest disconnect for people who are just starting it or wanting to understand like this neuroscience or the mind body or somatic pain, whatever you want to call it. It's way deeper than just you, Aaliyah, saying, stop thinking about that. Stop it. Like you can't, because you can't. Like you can't, if it was easy as you just touching your back and saying stop, like stop being in pain, if that's all that you needed to do, like this would be easy, right? But there's more to it than that, right? There's movement involved with it. There's a lot of fear involved with it. There's a lot of overemphasizing things that are not important. And you kind of talked about that in the early part of this call. you were saying how every movement that you made was calculated, right? You were stacking up things so that you could just do them all in one go instead of doing them naturally throughout your day, because you knew that if I kept doing it naturally, I would build up pain symptoms. So you kind of flip into survival mode. So it is, this psychosomatic, this mind body stuff it's not just about go hug a tree and you'll feel better and your pain will go away, right? It's there's more to it than that. And I think once you understand that it's very powerful, but movement is powerful as well. And once you combine these two together, that's where like the magic happens. And that's what we try to do in the program is we lay the foundation, right? Challenge you, educate you, and then introduce movement while you keep practicing all of these things. Does that seem like it kind of resonates with you a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's on point.
Yeah, that's cool. Tell me a little bit about like what have you gotten to point now? Like obviously, this has been a process. What are you celebrating now that you've been through really because you went into the accelerator strength portion of it, so you were into the actual resistance training, leveling up all your exercise, things like that. What has been the biggest like success? What has been the biggest aha moment, or what are you celebrating now that you were like, man, this right here is so much worth it to me that I can do these things now? What are those things for you specifically?
There's quite a few. So I am running again. I've run the longest distance I ever have. Like even before I had back pain, I'd never run as long as I am now.
Wow,
I'm
that's
almost
awesome.
almost at a 10K. I probably could have kept going. I just, got tired. But um,
As you should at 10K, yeah.
with the pain, yeah, the pain wasn't there. Um, but yeah, I've signed up for a 15K Tough Mudder.
Wow.
Um, and I'm also considering a High Rocks next year, which are again things that I wouldn't have even thought were possible for me a year ago. So yeah, I'm super excited for that. Back in the gym, obviously, back into strength training, pain-free workouts as well. And yeah, booked a ton of travel, and I don't have to worry about my seat. I don't have to pay extra for the aisle seat because I know that sitting for for a long time is not going to be a problem. So yeah, those are probably my biggest wins. And those have, yeah, 100% made this such a worthwhile investment for me.
That's awesome. That that's really cool. How long would you say, and this is kind of stepping backwards a little bit, how long would you say that it took you to start to notice progress that you're like, okay, like this is, I'm actually able to start running a little bit more now. Like, how long would you say it took you to, it may not be running, it could just be, being able to bend over a few more times in a day. How long did it take you to start seeing those kind of results?
I think it was the first month um, when I started to engage a lot more with the just the material, started to understand more about the mind body connection. I remember having this moment where I was on a walk and I was practicing just like talking to my pain. And I could notice it starting to decrease and just by me telling it to like back off, to stop.
Yeah, that's
Um,
powerful.
like, wow, okay, this is working. Yeah, and that was in the first month, I'd say. And then after that, obviously there were ups and downs, but it like overall, I think it was 6 weeks in when we started to incorporate some more movement and workouts as well. Um, and that's when I was able to see progress quite quickly and be able to track like the because obviously I lost a lot of strength before that, but then it started to build up again quite quickly, and it felt a lot better as well. Like there was a lot less pain
Yeah.
around it.
And that's a big concern a lot of times because I attract a lot of people who love fitness, right? Who love working out. And one of their biggest fears is losing all of their gains, right? Or losing their strength, losing their tone. Male, female, it's all the same. Like they're afraid of losing all the hard work that they've done. So they will choose. They literally would have chosen, I will live with my pain so I don't lose the strength that I've gained over the past, 6 months or so. And what I tried to tell people is your body is very sophisticated, right? There is a thing called muscle memory. And sure, if you stop working out for, let's just say, 3 months, you're gonna feel like, right? There's also the physical feeling of not being maybe as strong. Maybe you're not as full. If you enjoy looking like you are kind of like toned and tight and kind of pumped up from the gym, if you like that, then that might go down, right? But ultimately, you're in so much pain working out, maintaining that you're always working as double hard because your central nervous system is taxed already, right? And now you're trying to add more stress to it because your body doesn't understand the difference between stresses. Like, it's just stress is stress. The good thing about exercise is it's a good stress on our body. It makes us stronger, more resilient. So what I want to always encourage people, and you're living proof of this, is like, this time off that you're taking is a small blip in your career as a fitness enthusiast, right? But imagine if you took that pause, you did some good deep work, you healed yourself, you got on a track where then now you learn how to introduce these things back. Even though you might be working through some symptoms still that pop up, you're significantly better. Your central nervous system's better. Your mental health is better. You can show up better for yourself in the gym. You can push yourself harder. And we always think about how it's so important to be consistent in the gym, and it is super important, but the recovery side of things are even more important. If your body's not recovering, if you're not, obviously, nutrition, taking time off, letting your body actually heal naturally, then you're always working behind the clock and you're never actually giving yourself a chance to grow and get stronger. And when you do take the time, you give yourself that space, you heal, guess what? Muscle memory kicks in. You gain
Yeah.
this stuff back. You get back. And that, not only do you gain this stuff back, but you're able to push yourself harder now, right? And you can do it and see significant gains that are not just being held back by pain, which is so stupid, right? Pain is such a stupid thing. Unfortunately, it's just a very limiting thing that happens to us. So I love that you're just living proof of, I like to see people who push themselves in the gym and generally want to get back to that, and they are able to get back to that, because that's a tough mental hurdle to get over. And it's something that you'll continue to kind of work through, but to be able to be so in a mentally different place to get back into the gym, put a barbell on your back, squat, deadlift, 5K, 10K, 15K, all these higher level intensity exercises, and you go back to these things, like, that's huge. It's a massive, massive accomplishment. So kudos to you for putting in the work.
You. Yeah, no, it feels really good. I think that was probably one of the hardest things for me as well, like losing a lot of muscle and strength. But I also know I was a lot happier, I think, when the pain started to decrease. I didn't care that I couldn't lift as much as before. I was like, I'm pain free. It's good.
Yeah.
And
Now
yeah,
it's
the
time to
strength.
work back to get the muscle, but yeah, being pain free is awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Last question. I mean, if obviously people, who are watching this, or maybe they are thinking about getting help and they feel like they've literally tried everything, right? I mean, I've talked to people who have spent like tens of thousands of dollars on injections, and just they feel like they're at their wits' end, and they're hesitant to do this. How would you encourage them? What would you say to kind of push them over the edge despite what they feel like are massive hurdles and trust issues?
Mm, I would say I get it, because I was very hesitant at first. I mean, I even booked an intro call and then cancelled it, and then came back a few months later and booked it and actually went through
Mm,
with it. But I'd say that it's 100% a worthwhile investment if you're willing to put the time in, and actually educate yourself about what's actually going on, because you don't just learn about, fitness from a different angle, but you learn so much more about yourself and what you're capable of. And this program has pushed me to do things that I didn't even consider before I was in pain. And it's made me realize that, like, if I can get through this, then my body's pretty resilient. I can do anything else that I want. And it's helped me so much outside of fitness. It's helped me with my overall mindset. And you probably end up spending so much more money on the quick fixes, getting out of pain, but it's always going to come back. Whereas this is a skill that will, you can carry with you for the rest of your life. And it's just as simple as understanding where it's coming from and knowing how to deal with it and the root cause of it, rather than just like a surface level quick fix. So yeah, that's probably what I'd say.
Well said. That was beautiful. That's awesome. Good job. I appreciate you. I'm so encouraged just to hear your story, Aaliyah, like what you've done, what you put yourself through. And I'm subscribed to you. I want to keep following you and making sure that you're just crushing it in life and doing all the things that you want to do physically and with fitness. I'm so pumped that you just trusted me to help you. So, good luck and keep rolling. Okay.
I will do. No, I really appreciate you. I'm super grateful for what you've helped me overcome.
If you find yourself resonating with Aaliyah's pain story, the fear, the anxiety, the worry, the symptoms, maybe the diagnosis, you've tried exercise, you've tried injections, you've tried manual therapies, you've done medication, you're considering surgery, but you don't want to go down that road. The biggest shift for you to take is to stop focusing on trying to find relief, as crazy as that might sound, and search for what is going to give you the transformation process that you're looking for. Lasting, transformative relief where you look back and say, I never thought I would ever be as pain-free as I am today. In order to get that type of relief, you have to focus on the transformation and the deep healing that your body and brain need to go through to get those types of results. Now, if that's you do feel stuck, you feel like you've tried everything, you don't want to have surgery, and you want to transform the way you live. You want the old you back, and you want to be given the exact steps for you to be taking. Book a free relief strategy session with me. What we can do is dive into where you're at now, what you've tried, and what is standing in your way of getting the actual relief that you're looking for, and whether or not my hybrid relief method is a good fit for you. Just go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply, fill out the application, grab a time for you and I to chat, and I'll see you on that call. Again, that URL is fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. Thanks for watching. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode.